The term trauma has become widely discussed in online conversations today, manifesting in various ways. Perhaps you've been in a toxic relationship that shattered your confidence. Or maybe you were a victim of bullying in your childhood. Who knows? Perhaps you grew up in a neglectful environment where your parents failed to see your true essence. This last situation in particular perfectly describes the plot of a short film titled Opal, released on Halloween 2020 on the Adult Swim channel. Opal is a creation by Jack Stauber, known for his unique musical style that combines unusual and intense sounds, striking a chord with many emotions. While you may not recognize his name, you've probably heard some of his songs, but the focus here is not his music career. We're talking about Opal, a short film lasting only 12 minutes that, despite its brevity, tells a profound and impactful story about repressed childhood trauma experienced by its protagonist. In the plot, we follow a young girl trying to survive within a dysfunctional family. She faces a narcissistic father, a cigarette-addicted grandfather, and an alcoholic mother. The story begins with a soft piano melody, setting the stage for the three main conflicts the protagonist will face: the grandfather's addiction, the extreme vanity of the narcissistic man, and the older woman's abuse of alcohol and pills. Shortly after these scenes, the short film transports us to a vision through a window, revealing a house across the street. Inside, a warm and loving family sings to their daughter, who seems to be named Opal. The song emphasizes seeing the child with each family member, reinforcing this in their lyrics. "There she is. That's my girl. Hello, Opal." When Opal receives a burger, she unexpectedly begins to dance with it, seemingly unsure of how to react. This seemingly innocent detail will hold significant meaning later. The scene shifts when Opal's attention is drawn to the dark house across the street. Before she can focus on it, her parents quickly sing a phrase. "Don't worry about the house across the street, Opal. That's none of your business." Soon after, Opal is sent to bed early. However, disobediently, she decides to sneak out to investigate the mystery surrounding the house across the street. Upon entering, her attention is immediately drawn upstairs, where a haunting yet beautiful melody begins to play. The tune is unsettling, almost celestial, and creates a tense atmosphere. As she approaches the front door, a series of unexpected lights turn on. "Stop messing with my cigarettes, and don't even think about hiding them again. I know you've been doing it." With this, the short film leads us into an impressive musical number. The man begins a song about how everything seems easier on television, especially something as simple as breathing. The song's lyrics create an ironic contrast between harsh reality and the comfortable illusion presented by TV. Why does breathing seem so easy on TV? I don't get it. Everything is so simple. I'm popular. Through this song, it becomes clear that he uses television and cigarettes as a way to escape his deteriorating health, trying to alleviate his physical and emotional pain. When the song ends, the man realizes that the girl standing before him is not his granddaughter, Claire. Confused, he yells at her to leave, causing Opal to flee in fear. This leads to her next encounter in the hallway. Her attention is drawn to a door, and the same eerie celestial music from before fills the air as an ominous sign. Opal is then interrupted by a man in a room full of mirrors. He speaks endlessly about himself, practically ignoring her presence. Throughout the entire scene, He monopolizes the conversation, quickly shifting topics and even making disparaging remarks about the girl, such as criticizing her ankles. "Good thing I don't have those ankles." No offense, of course. Never mind, my mind wanders. As he rambles on about his own appearance, the soundtrack abruptly alternates between tense and light tones, creating a chaotic atmosphere. Toward the end of his monologue, the man launches into another musical number, this time exploring his insecurities and excessive narcissism. Want to know why I'm so nervous? I'll tell you, it's a nightmare to be seen like this. Here I am, in the chamber of reflection. He references his perfect appearance and obsession with his skin, highlighting that life is nothing but fantasy. Clearly, this man has suffered trauma that left him obsessed with his own image, trapped in his chamber of reflection, a symbol of his self-absorption. When this song ends, the grandfather appears again, scaring Opal, who runs toward another door, quickly shutting it behind her. Suddenly, a hand grabs her legs. It belongs to an older woman, visibly drunk, who begins rambling about her frustrations and regrets. "I'm sorry. You and we're just surviving." The woman then sings a distressing song about needing her daughter. "Mama needs her girl. Girl, come to me." The scene unfolds chaotically, but Opal manages to escape, running upstairs in search of refuge, something that has been subtly suggested throughout the short film. She finally reaches the upper floor, locks the door, and pushes a chair against it. It is at this moment that the audience discovers a disturbing truth. Opal is not her real name. Her real name is Claire, as everyone in her household calls her. The name Opal comes from a sign for a burger restaurant called Opal's Burgers, which ironically features the happy family scene at the beginning of the short film. The impact of this revelation weighs heavily on Claire, who realizes that her real family is dysfunctional and completely different from the one she idealized in the sign. Consumed by pain and suffering, she seeks comfort in her mind, imagining herself in the arms of that fictional family she never had while they sing to her in an attempt to console her. The scene zooms out, revealing that everything unfolding is happening exclusively in Claire's mind. Meanwhile, her real family pounds on the door, demanding her attention without any real concern. As the camera continues pulling back, it becomes clear that the house across the street never existed, confirming that all these events are merely projections of her mind. The true impact of the short film lies in the small details that reinforce its central theme. Claire is a child deeply neglected by her family. One of the most symbolic elements is the fact that no family member truly sees her. The grandfather, literally blind, is incapable of seeing her. The father, represented as the man in the mirrors, is so absorbed in his own life that any fleeting possibility of noticing his daughter is immediately blocked when he adjusts his mirrors. This action, both literally and metaphorically, reflects how adults prioritize their own concerns, leaving their children as an afterthought. Claire's mother, on the other hand, an alcoholic and drug addict, does not seek a daughter for maternal affection. To her, Claire is more like a therapist, someone to confide in, completely reversing the natural parent-child roles. Instead of being cared for, Claire assumes that role for everyone around her. This overwhelming neglect has devastating effects on Claire, both physically and emotionally. She is visibly malnourished, her frail body a silent testament to years of being overlooked and uncared for. Her posture, hesitant and withdrawn, reveals a deep-seated fear of confrontation, as if she has learned to make herself as small and invisible as possible. Throughout the film, her social anxiety is evident in the way she hesitates before speaking, her nervous glances darting around as if she's expecting reprimands at any moment. Her isolation is not just external, but also internal. She is trapped in a household that does not acknowledge her needs, let alone her existence beyond what is convenient for others. She is not a daughter to be cherished, but rather an afterthought, someone to be ignored, criticized, or used as an emotional crutch. In an environment like this, love is conditional and attention is fleeting, granted only when it serves the selfish desires of those around her. Faced with such suffocating neglect, Claire does what many children in her position do. She escapes into fantasy. Her only refuge is her imagination, where she constructs an alternate reality, one where she is not just seen, but cherished, where her presence brings joy rather than indifference. This illusion is represented by the image of the perfect family from Opal's Burgers, a commercialized depiction of warmth, stability, and unconditional love. In the final shot of the film, Claire stands outside, staring at the sign with desperate longing. It is a heartbreaking moment because, by now, the audience understands the full weight of her yearning. That family, that version of life, does not exist for her. It never has. The brightly lit restaurant sign, with its smiling characters frozen in a perpetual display of happiness, is nothing more than a cruel mirage, something she can see but never touch, a dream that will always be just out of reach. Opal is not just a short film. It is an unflinching portrayal of the lasting scars left by childhood neglect. It captures, in hauntingly surreal imagery, the loneliness of a child who has been emotionally abandoned, the pain of seeking affection in a world that refuses to provide it. More than that, it is a devastating commentary on the human need for love, the lengths to which the mind will go to create it when it is absent, and the tragic reality that for some, happiness is something they can only ever watch from the outside, through a window, across the street, or on the glowing surface of a neon sign.